The ticking had already been there for a long time, long before anyone noticed it, long before the room grew this quiet. A wall clock kept moving forward, and beneath it, a man stayed exactly where he was. He stands beneath the wall clock, not directly under it, a little to the side. His fingers rest lightly against the wall, not pressing, just touching. The clock ticks above him. Slow. Even. He looks up once, then down again. The room holds very little movement. A chair near the corner. A narrow table. Light that settles across the floor without hurry. The clock continues. Tick. 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 He shifts his weight from one foot to the other. The movement is small enough that nothing around him reacts. His hand leaves the wall. He walks 2 quiet steps away, then stops. The clock remains above its place, still ticking. He does not check the time. He never does. The sound alone seems to be enough. In the morning, the light arrives first at the clock. It touches the glass. A thin reflection appears for a moment before sliding away. He notices this sometimes. Not every day. Some mornings he stands close enough that the ticking sounds louder. Some mornings he stays across the room. The clock does not change. Its hands move with the same steady patience. He reaches for a small cloth resting on the table. He walks back beneath the clock. The cloth moves slowly across the wall, just below it. Once to the left. Once to the right. He does not touch the clock itself. Only the wall. When the cloth returns to the table, he remains there a moment longer, looking somewhere near the floor. The ticking fills the space again. It has been filling the space for a long time. He listens without turning his head. Then he walks toward the chair and sits, not facing the clock, but close enough that the sound continues. Tick, tick, tick. Outside the room, the light changes. Inside, the clock continues moving forward. He stays where he is. The ticking does not slow. It never does. Morning light reaches the wall clock again. The thin reflection appears across the glass. It slides slowly, then disappears. The ticking continues. He enters the room at nearly the same moment each day. Not by plan, just the way the morning settles. His steps are quiet. He pauses near the doorway first. Always the same place. The clock hangs across the room. Its hands have already moved forward from where they were yesterday. He stands there for a while. Not long enough to count. Long enough for the ticking to become the only sound again. Tick. 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 He walks toward the table. His fingers pass across its surface once. slowly, as if confirming it is still there. The small cloth rests where it was left. He picks it up. 2 steps bring him beneath the wall clock. The cloth moves across the wall again. Left. Right. The same space as before. He never lifts the cloth high enough to reach the clock. The glass stays untouched. Sometimes he pauses halfway through the movement. The cloth resting against the wall. The ticking continues above his head. When the cloth returns to the table, he does not leave immediately. He stands there, looking somewhere near the center of the room, as if something might enter it. Nothing does. The days pass quietly this way. Morning light across the clock. A pause by the doorway. The cloth against the wall. The chair waiting in its corner. Some afternoons, he sits there longer than usual. Not facing the clock, but close enough to hear every second. When the room grows dim, the ticking sounds slightly louder. Or perhaps the silence around it becomes deeper. He sits with his hands resting on his knees, not moving. The clock continues forward, minute after minute, day after day. Sometimes he looks up, only briefly, as if confirming that the sound still belongs to the same place. Then his gaze lowers again. The ticking remains steady. Nothing asks him to hurry. Nothing asks him to stop. So he stays. And the clock keeps going. Late in the afternoon, the light reaches the wall clock at a different angle. The glass dulls for a moment, then clears again. The ticking continues. He sits in a chair longer these days. Not because the chair has changed, because the room feels slightly slower when he remains there. His hands rest on his knees. The clock hangs behind him. Tick. 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 Sometimes he rises halfway from the chair, just enough that the legs shift against the floor. Then he settles back down. The movement ends before it begins. Across the room, the clock continues its quiet work. Its hands move forward without hesitation. He stands eventually. Not quickly. The chair remains where it was. 2 steps bring him toward the center of the room. He stops there, not beneath the clock this time, a little farther away. The ticking still reaches him. Even from here, he tilts his head slightly, as if measuring the distance between the sound and the wall. Then he walks closer, slowly, until he stands beneath the clock again. His eyes lift toward the glass. They remain there longer than usual. The minute hand moves once, barely noticeable, yet he sees it. His hand rises. Not fully. Only halfway toward the clock. The space between his fingers and the wall stays empty. The ticking continues above him. Steady. Uninterrupted. His hand lowers again. He does not touch the wall this time. He does not reach for the cloth. He simply stands there, listening. The room holds the sound carefully, as if it has learned how to keep it from escaping. A long moment passes, then another. The clock moves forward again. Another minute gone. He remains beneath it, still, almost as if waiting for something to fall behind. But nothing does. The clock does not slow. The sound does not pause. And after a while, he steps away, leaving the ticking in the same place it has always been. Evening settles into the room slowly. The wall clock grows harder to see as the light fades. The glass reflects only a thin shadow now, but the sound remains. Tick, tick, tick. He sits in the chair with his hands resting quietly together. The clock hangs behind him. He does not turn to look. Outside the room, the light disappears piece by piece. The corners grow darker first, then the wall, then the space around the clock. Still, the ticking moves forward, steady, certain. He rises after a long while. The chair makes a soft sound against the floor. 2 steps bring him toward the center of the room again. He stops there, not close to the clock, not far, just somewhere between. The ticking reaches him easily. He lifts his head. The clock is only a faint circle now. Its hands are difficult to see, but the sound confirms what the darkness hides. Time continues. His hand moves toward the wall beneath the clock. Not to wipe it, not to measure the distance, just to rest there. His palm touches the surface lightly. For a moment, he stays that way, listening. The clock moves forward again. Another minute gone. Then another. His hand leaves the wall. He does not reach for the cloth tonight. He does not look up again. Instead, he walks slowly toward the doorway. At the threshold, he pauses. The ticking follows him across the room. Still the same sound. Still the same rhythm. He stands there for a few seconds longer. Then he steps out. The room remains behind him. The wall clock continues in the quiet. Tick, tick, tick. And somewhere beyond the doorway, he remains in the same evening that has now moved on. Not every memory is clear, but some never leave. They remain quietly, waiting for an ordinary moment to return. If this story brought something back, it has done enough. If this quiet moment stayed with you, you can listen to more slow, reflective stories like this on the channel. Sometimes the smallest sounds carry the longest memories.